Welcome back, everyone, to Purple Noon, a podcast with Stephanie Conti and Savanna Lanausse. Say hi, Savanna.
Guten Tag, everybody.
So not only are you being welcome to the podcast Purple Noon, but you're also being welcome to Purple Noon, the game show, with the only contestant, Savanna Lanausse. Are you ready, Savanna?
Yeah. That's a right?
All right. So our category is famous pickup lines.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
What's your stake? What are you wagering?
I don't know, 200 for a famous pickup line?
That's a little low ball, but okay, let's begin.
I don't know what's going on. That's why I wasn't prepared.
So, yeah, literally before calling her, I was like, just go along with this. So, name the movie from where this quote is from.
Uh-huh.
You know, when you blow out the match, it's an invitation to kiss you.
Repeat that. You went out for a bit.
Okay, no problem. It's, you know, when you blow out the match, it's an invitation to kiss you.
Oh, can I call a friend?
I'm not going to do that the entire time. You won't think.
Is there can I get a hint? Can I call a friend? What else can I do?
I mean, yeah, I can give you a hint. Would you like the director, the year, the actress, or the actor?
I would like the actress.
Greta Garbo.
Greta Garbo.
Greta Garbo.
Is it the only? Is it what? It happened one night with Clark Gable.
Sorry, Savannah. The buzzer said no. The correct answer is 1926's The Flesh and the Devil. I think that's a silent film. I think it wasn't even said. I think it was just put on a little card on the screen.
When I tell you I would have never got that. I don't like silent films. I know that makes me awful, especially because we're a film critic podcast, but I don't.
My heart aches, Savannah.
I'm not a big silent film fan. I'll watch anything else, but I'm not a big, so I wouldn't have got that anyway, but...
So it is The Flesh and the Devil, starring John Gilbert, Greta Garbo, directed by Clarence Brown.
Interesting.
So sorry, Savannah. You do not win that 200 points. But tune in next time as I will be quizzing you again. So spruce up on your famous pick lines from God. This pack I got from my grandpa.
What are you reading off of?
It's like a little Turner Classic Movies 30 movie flashcards. So be expected for the next month of recordings. I'm
an idiot too. Greta Garbo's not even in It Happened One Night. I just realized I'm that's a totally different person. I'm thinking of do you know Claudette? Colbert, I think.
Yes.
That's who I was thinking of, not
yes.
Greta Garbo. So yeah, totally blindsided by that.
Yeah, so this one, it's a little, famous movie pickup line trivia pack that I got 10 plus years ago. And this was made in 2003. So the listing of movies that they are going to say are just going to be, God, almost 100 years old at this point. But
you did that on
next
purpose.
Time.
You picked the hardest.
Get it next time.
You picked the hardest. You know I don't like silent films, so I bet you were looking for
literally
them.
Only picked the first card, so it wasn't personal. Don't hate the host when you can't play the game right, sweet pea.
All right,
but it's okay. You have 29 more tries to make it up next time. Okay?
Why 29?
There's 30 cards.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
All right, so tune in next time. Well, Savannah, that's the end of the episode. Well, Savannah, next time.
We can only do
podcasts if you get it right. That's it. That's the clause.
That's great.
All right, so let's get into the meat of this video.
I do want to say something real quick about last week's episode. I realized that I knew Glenn Ford from somewhere. It was bothering me all week. And I was looking through my movies because I'm this has to be a movie that I've seen before. He's in Gilda.
Oh.
And that's where I recognized him. I guess he was younger. That's why. He was younger in Gilda, but he was with Rita Hayworth, so.
Was he in 12 Angry Men?
I don't remember. I've seen the movie.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember his face specifically, so I don't know.
All right. So now into the ribs, into the meat of this, into even the Beyond Burgers of this, if you are vegan. So today we are going to be reviewing my choice, a film called Europa. Now, let me clarify. If you're like, I don't know Europa, you might, one of you out of our 2 viewers might know that it was when it came out in North America. It was known at the time as Zentropa. So it's either known as Zentropa or Europa. At the time it came out, it was the same exact year that Europa came out. Another movie called Europa came out.
That confused me a lot because when I looked up the movies, not only were they the same name, but they were very similar in time. Like they were only like 3 seconds apart, like the exact same time. So
yeah,
it's definitely a little confusing.
So we're talking about Europa that came out in 1991, aka Zentropa. So it is about just after World War II, an American takes a railway job in Germany, but finds his position politically sensitive with various people trying to use him. And it is written and directed by one of my favorite kooky people ever, Lars von Trier. And it stars Barbara Sokowa and Jean-Marc Barr. And this is a foreign film. Even though it predominantly speaks in English, there's German in it. But I believe, like, when you look at, like, what nations this film comprises, like, it was filmed in Sweden. It was filmed in parts of Poland. Yeah. Like, it was filmed everywhere in Europe. So even though the 2 main languages are English and German, I think it's still technically a Danish film at the end of the day.
Interesting.
So before we get into even further into the review, before we start having any spoilers, I will say, since this was my pick, I highly recommend it. I've never seen a film like this, and if you're like, well, should I watch this or should I not? I say go for it. It's so different. You're not going to watch anything in terms of a stylistic directorial sense. You're not going to see anything filmed like this. Even just watch the trailer. You'll know what I mean. Like, I highly recommend this film just for its directing. And Savanna, why don't you tell us, before someone gets into the spoilers, do you say that they should go watch it or just pass? What's your opinion?
I think you guys should definitely watch this film. Before I watched it, I've never seen the film before Stephanie recommended it. And before I watched it, I did a little research. And if you're into, like, World War II films and shows like I am, you're definitely going to want to watch this. Especially if you've seen and love Schindler's List. And we'll get into that later. But it's a new perspective on post-war Germany after World War II. And I really liked it. I really love the way it was filmed. It's very different from, like Stephanie said, anything you're going to watch especially a war genre.
I feel like we said that for every review, though.
True. Okay.
I'll elaborate.
I'll elaborate on that because we do say that like every single time. No. Okay. So the use of color in this film is very unique. It's mostly shot in black and white, but in certain significant moments, it will be in color. Not all of it, just a specific person, like a product or anything. And there is a lot of narration in the film that's unsettling, but keeps you wanting to watch. And again, it's different because it's post-war Germany. You see a lot of movies and TV shows, either in World War II or like years after that, the effects of it after. This film takes place literally right after the war. So you kind of see what state Germany is in. So that's kind of why it's different in terms of a war movie.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to get into something. So this, I'm going to say, this portion will be spoiler free because I want to start a little debate with you, Savanna, because your husband tried to start some beef with me the other day. Because apparently while Savanna was watching this movie, her husband didn't understand why, at the time, of course, it being a 90s film, they had the option to shoot entirely in color.
Yeah.
And he was like, What was his words? Did he think it was
I was
stupid? Like,
enjoying
what
the
was?
film, just having a good time. He comes downstairs. Remember, I'm already 45 minutes into the movie. He has no idea what's going on. He looks at the screen and he goes, "This is dumb. This movie was made in 1991. Why is it not in color?" And I was like, well, it is a Nazi movie. And I was just telling him my opinions on why the use of color and black and white. He's just like, "No, that's dumb. And it actually kind of he said, quote unquote, it sounds a little pretentious." And I was like, ooh.
Well, for review sake, because this movie is done by Lars von Trier, Lars von Trier is pretentious, and I will just say it. Like, he thought, fun fact, he thought he was going to win the Palme d'Or for this movie when it came out at the Cannes Film Festival I think in the same year, 91. And when he didn't win, he flicked off the entire board members, like the entire jury. Well, I mean,
dude, he puts himself on his movie posters. This guy has the biggest ego ever, just as a person.
Yeah, but I don't think that the whole purpose of the color option for a World War II film, I don't think that itself makes it pretentious. I think the fact that it was made by Lars von Trier makes it a little pretentious.
Oh, no, yeah. Not even a competition on that one. But he was just saying every movie made after the point where you can shoot it in color, it's black and white, is pretentious. He wasn't even saying this movie is pretentious. He's saying every movie that's made in black and white after the time where there was color is pretentious. So, Stephanie,
first of all, that's real fighting words, because Clerks, I will fight for Kevin Smith with bated breath. Okay, so I'm gonna text your husband. I'll be like, meet me in the alleyway when all this coronavirus stuff clears. Meet me in the alleyway.
It's funny because I was explaining some of the points, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to just completely bury him. He did have a few, good. If he wasn't so aggressive about it, he would have a few good questions. Kind of like, well, I said. So some of the reasons why it's in black and white is to show the gloominess, to show the devastation. And he said, well, why don't you just use toned down colors? People have done that before. So, he, unfortunately, he does want to be aggressive and fight and think he's, the film critic of the house now. But other than that, if you put that aside, he does have a few good questions, I would say.
I mean, I don't think I think for the topic of Europa, I don't think it's valid. But for example, if Michael Bay was like, I'm going to do a Transformers film in black and white, I'd be like, dog, what's up? Are you okay? So I could see with some films, but at the same time, there's not many films that were made after color was an option. No. Like a readily available, easy to use option.
Yeah.
That people choose to do black and white. It's usually for World War II films. The only other film I know would be Clerks, which the only reason why he did that was because they had to film at night. So they had to block out the windows and everything. And when the sunlight would peep in, it would look weird. So that's why they shot in black and white, was because it was a cheap $24,000 film.
But it's, I think The Artist is in black and white, right? That's a newer film.
It's a silent. It's supposed to be a silent movie, though, so that of course makes sense. I think black and white should be, in rare cases, used to enhance. Yeah, to enhance a film.
I agree. I think let's be honest. Paula was just trying to argue with me and start something with me as usual, and start something with you because he's jealous that we spend so much time together. But whatever.
It's also because I don't support him and his Minecraft. It's not that I don't like Minecraft. It's just because they have beef with our movie choices.
Oh, yeah.
So then I must have beef with them.
Exactly. Yeah, no. Love you, babe. Thanks for...
I remember one of my arguments when Paulo was like, why would you choose to make a movie in black and white? I'm like, why would you choose to play a video game that looks like it's been, it was recorded in a microwave? Then play one of these new HD games. So, I mean, I got a point there. I was very proud of myself for that point.
Love you, babe. Sorry if you think we're roasting you. Sorry, but...
my boyfriend's going to listen to this, and he's just going to, clench his heart and be like,
Zach,
Minecraft is such a good game.
He's a part of the little Minecraft group they have, so he's going to be upset.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well, okay.
But
So
yeah,
the topic of discussion has been ruled that your husband is wrong and we are white. Are white. We are right.
As we always are.
Yes. All right. So let's get into Europa. So Europa, I think in terms of plot, it's not entirely different from other World War II films. I mean, it's different in terms of it takes place after.
Yeah. Yes.
But there's still a lot of elements that you're going to see. Like if you compare like the traditional World War II films, you're definitely going to see similar elements to like this and Schindler's List and, you know, just a whole bunch of other, I guess you could say German-based World War II films, like films that take place in Germany at the time rather than on enemy lines or on the forefront. But I definitely... I enjoyed the plot. What did you think of the overall story of it?
I really liked the story. I think like it is like, even if it's, you know, it's 30 years old, but it is a fresh take on, you know, because World War II movies are predominantly happening during World War II, during the Holocaust. So this is sort of what happened to Germany after all that. And I thought it was interesting how they did show you that Germany was a hot mess. I will admit in the beginning, I was a little confused trying to follow what was going on, but you do understand because you're kind of thrown into this like, okay, he's in Germany and he's doing this and that, and you have to kind of learn all your characters. But I did really enjoy the plot. I thought it was...
I'm so sorry. You can hear me pouring my cherry Coke into my cup in the background.
Oh my God, I love cherry Coke. So good.
Cherry Coke with a lemon or lime, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and vanilla Coke is good too. But anyway, no, I did like the plot. I really liked the main character. Also,
I liked him too. Oh shit! Sorry, I have a seed in my mouth. I'm sorry. I was like, ugh. Okay, professional time. So,
Stephanie,
I really enjoyed the main character too.
We gotta get sponsored by the Criterion Channel. Get it together.
Yeah. So now I'm just going to use big words that I don't even know what means. So, with the main character, I really liked, and I think it's because maybe because I read another review I read a Roger Ebert review on Europa, and I didn't notice it because I think I had liked the character too much. Apparently at the time, and apparently in a lot of like European films, when they have an American character, a common trope is to make them dumb. And I didn't realize that. Like after realizing, I was like, oh, you know, this main character ain't so bright. I liked him.
I thought it was just because, like, you know, he is of German descent, but he's an American. And I kind of just saw him as naive, but not stupid, I guess.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize. I mean, a little parts. I was like, that's a little dumb move. But
I mean, we'll talk about overall, some of his choices in a little bit.
Yes, but I did thoroughly enjoy the character. I liked because Lars von Trier, he made a character the entire structure of the film, meaning it wasn't what this guy said or what this guy did made him the structure of the film. It was what all the other characters dumped on him. You know, you have his girlfriend like, oh, let's get married. Let's go on the train. Let's live in a train car. I don't know what that accent is, but you have that aspect. And then you have his uncle who is like the head conductor training him and who is just on his butt nonstop and is like, you have to shine these shoes and you have to put chalk on the bottom so you know where they go. And then you have this, who is this guy? Who is this like army guy?
Oh, yeah. I didn't understand that at first.
So you have this American, I guess you could say general. I can't remember what his rank was. You have this American general who somehow plays a part, but each of these three characters, as well as the passengers of the train, just dump on him. They just dump all their problems and everything onto this poor American. And I thought it was a brilliant way, because usually, like I said, you have the main character where it's his words or actions that carry a film. But no, like this guy was used as dumping ground for all the other characters, and we got to see it affect him over time.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. I did want to talk about that first opening scene and how cool it was. Once you play the movie and it starts, all you're seeing is train tracks and the hypnotic voice, like this unsettling narration. And I thought it was awesome because like it really grabs your attention. And you're just kind of like, you're already like, ugh, like from the beginning of the movie, you're already, okay. So I thought that was awesome. The beginning of the movie definitely catches your attention.
Yeah, and the narration is done by an actor who recently just passed away, Max von Sydow. And his voice is just so alert. He's just like, one, you are on a train. I don't know, like, but it's just so, it's so alluring. And like, I've never seen someone do like almost like a hypnosis in a film. Like you said, I've never seen that done before.
It was very cool. But with the main character, I really liked the whole, because in the movie you kind of see he's pulled between his heritage and then his nationality. He's American, but he's German, and he kind of has to, you can see him getting pulled from sort of both sides. Any other thoughts on that character?
I enjoyed his slow descent into madness and confusion. And I liked how over time you saw the effects that everyone, you know, because here he is just like, I'm going to conduct a train. And then he's in this, you know, trifecta of Nazi propaganda. And it's like, do I choose my lover? Do I choose the Americans? Do I choose my heritage? Like, I thought it, like, I loved his character, and I really enjoyed Jean-Marc Barr himself. He's he's very distinctive.
Yes.
Like, he's very standout, and not only in terms of his acting, but his look too.
He's you can, you know, pull him out of a crowd. He's got that face.
Mm-hmm, he's got that face. How about, what did you think of the female lead?
You know, I did like her. I'm not going to say she was as distinctive because she was kind of portrayed as, you know, the old, you know, the female femme fatale. That's what she was. And I felt like she represented post-war Germany itself because she tells us like, oh yeah, you know, in the beginning you catch something's off because they pass on the train, both of them pass dead bodies. And she's just like, oh, yeah, you know, like not scared at all. And then you come to find that she was a Nazi, sort of.
Like, kind of like she was, would you say she was, I guess you could say, because overall, I don't know if it's maybe a translation issue or if it's just the structure of the story. Probably both. Some parts are a little bit hard to follow.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the beginning. I kind of got confused at some points of the film, but it seemed like either she was like a Nazi sympathizer or she was part of like some terrorist group in Germany. So I just assumed that she was a Nazi because of the time period, but
it seemed like she was someone who was pulled into it unwillingly and then just kind of conformed into it. Because that's what, like, because I watched the film twice, and even still I still don't completely understand her entire motive.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just, like I said, I kind of took that and went Nazi. So maybe she was part of some terrorist. She got pulled into something.
In some way, shape, or form, she's supposed to represent, you know, because there's three sides. They're siding with the Americans, siding with Germany, and then siding with the Nazi party. That's, in my opinion, how it progresses.
And I felt like she kind of, there was either her or somebody else in the film that represented post-war Germany. Somebody that had a past, somebody was, you know, did horrific, horrible, disgusting things and was trying to move on. And I felt like that's what Germany.
It was the uncle.
Yes.
It was the uncle because he was a war criminal before. And so at some point there was blackmail on him because they were going to reveal that he was a war criminal.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I felt like that portrayed to me like Germany's crimes, and what happens to him is what they had to pay for. So I really liked that aspect of the movie. I thought she was very alluring. And also I think that's because of the colors on her too. A lot of her scenes she was in color.
Yeah, a lot of her scenes she was in color, and I wondered if because I was wondering, as I was looking, I was like, I wonder what the switching from color to black and white meant for this movie. And I wondered if maybe switching from black and white into color meant that those were the moments that Leopold, or Kessler, the main character, of what he knew, what he wanted.
I felt like that too. I mean, I knew the color moments were significant, but since I noticed her scenes were majority in color, I thought, okay, like, he's attracted to that. That's what he wants. So that's kind of how I interpreted the film, but I wasn't 100% positive. I guess that's confirmation from you now.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it came across to me, because not only was she in color, but there would be moments where, like, he's making a decision,
Right.
where he would be shown in color. So I think, even, like, for example, there's a scene where he grabs a machine gun. And I think in that moment, if I am correct, when he grabs it and when you look at him before he starts firing, he is presented in color for a brief second.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I liked about the film, and I guess this is more of an opinion, I feel like it's filmed like somebody's nightmare. Like, most of my nightmares look like that. So I was just kind of like, ooh, that's really, really cool. That they kind of, I don't know if it was done on purpose, but it was just very unsettling how, like, black and white, some of the scenes. So I was kind of, I interpreted it as like, okay, this is like a nightmare.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it's supposed to feel very dreamy in a sense where, like, because not only do you switch from black and white, but, this is one of the reasons why I think this film is fantastic, is because Lars von Trier played with working almost, I guess you could say, 2-dimensionally and 3-dimensionally. So you would have scenes where, let's say, Leopold, let's say Kessler, he walks in, he's in the room, he's black and white. And his girl enters the room and she's in color. Now, at the time, they did not have the proper coloring, technique to fully execute it to look fantastic. So what they did was all the black and white scenes are projected onto a wall behind them. So when you have, let's say, Kessler in black and white and Katharina in color, she's in front of the screen. He is being projected on a projector. And I think that is brilliant. I think that adds a whole another level. And I think that's why it even adds to this more nightmarish feel, because your eyes can kind of see, like, she looks a little more real than he does in the background. And that's because in the background, he is projected onto a wall. He's not, even though it's obviously not supposed to come across that way, but it gives that eeriness sense where it's like, I could tell you're there, but, like, it almost gives a sense where it's like you're there, but you're not really there,
No, I think that was one of the cooler things that we learned about this film, because you told me to watch on the Criterion Channel, there is a little documentary on how Europa was made. And it was definitely one of the cooler effects of the movie, because, like you said, you can kind of see it looked not off, but different. But I never noticed that he wasn't really there. I just thought they did like a cool film trick. But no, that was really awesome. And it's definitely, you appreciate the film more because of that. From the documentary, though, I really couldn't believe how many extras there were.
Yeah, there was a lot. How many? It got to be in the hundreds, right?
Yeah, and they would just come every day. And they filmed late at night, too. So I also thought, I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Maybe also filming in black and white, too, because usually filming at night in black and white, if for some reason, like, if there's any inconsistencies or anything, like, it blocks everything, too. So that could have been a why. I think it was definitely more for the aesthetic look of it, though.
Right. Well, yeah.
How about that train scene?
That was crazy.
The whole train scene. Like, just in the beginning where you have, like, the tons of people pulling out the train, and it was just done so well. So well. That's why, like, this movie, for me in particular, like, in terms of, like, movies that look the best, this would for sure be in my top 10.
No, yeah. I mean, I felt like a lot of the effects of the movie were done really well, too. So the train scene, especially.
Like, combining, and of course, like, I think also when you said the nightmarish feel, remember, you have someone literally telling you almost, because then, like, a hypnosis, because remember, you kind of fall into a sleep technically with hypnosis. So even
true,
more so, that's where the nightmarish feel comes about. And also, let's be real, like the whole situation was an actual nightmare.
Yeah, no, that was bad. So I do really love the ending.
Oh my God, that scene, the way it is filmed when he is, you tell me what you love about the ending before I just start, blabbing about the directing.
I just felt like there are a lot of endings of movies I love that like is kind of to me, like, okay, like I guess, like whatever. I'm not a big ending person, but this one in particular was just.
You can spoil it. I think we're beyond the past where we can just say spoilers now.
I mean, I felt like the one thing that made me appreciate the ending even more was the fact that like when Kessler and Katerina,
I think it's either Katerina makes sense. I don't know. Katerina,
yeah. When they're having sex on the little toy train thing, they kind of destroy the train. So she flips it off. They like roll around in it. So for me, when I saw that, I was like, foreshadowing, maybe? And then at the end of the movie, I was like, foreshadowing, nice. Okay, I love things like that. But I just really love the ending because it made sense to me, number one. And two, I think you should spoil it because you love this movie and I feel like you would do a better job at it. But two, I felt like it's one of the endings of a movie. I don't like a lot of movie endings. This is probably my top 5 movie endings ever.
Okay, ready? I'm going to spoil it. They die. They all die. And it's great. And it works well.
But that's where I feel like works. That movie, if any other ending, I think I would have been disappointed. And I don't say that a lot about like everybody dying. I think it was good.
No, it works because you had every side of like, because you had like the people on the train, you had the just from the passengers to the American general to the uncle to those weird like proctors, those exam proctors, the one who like took a friggin' snooze like in the middle of the exam, and then you also have Katerina and her family, and it's just the ending made the most sense. And one thing that I wrote was one of the lines, and one of the greatest plot points of this part is when they just look at him and they're like, you do realize you doing nothing and not picking a side is worse.
Yeah.
And like they had like this whole argument like where it's like, even with the Nazis, God still forgives them because that is what their heart told them. I don't agree with that.
Either. But I thought that was a very strange view on God, but I think that whole like you doing nothing is worse because I mean, my whole thing about like this is kind of, I think it represents Germany in a way. Like that's kind of what happened in Germany. So many people didn't pick a side. So many people
they did
nothing.
They did nothing.
So, and I feel like the character represents that really, really well. So at the end of the movie, when everybody dies, it's kind of like, good.
Because even though each side had their point, like in terms of like the Nazi side, it was like the war's over. We're done. We're going to move on. And then, meanwhile, they weren't. They were being little sneaky bastards. But then you had the American general where it's like, we're done with the war. And they just wanted to cause more war. And then you had the passengers who were just rude. Like, the passengers who was like, my shoe needs to be shined. It's like, you're rude. Like, it was just, it made so much sense. There was, no matter which way you went, there was so much ugly and evil on that train. And I liked how they made this character set up the bomb. He jumps off and escapes, and he sees the train going, and he knows it's about to explode. But then he has the audacity to start chasing this train down, go through every, little wagon on that little, a train car? Every train car to get to the bomb and to stop it right before it blows up, only to do it all over again.
But I like that because I think like if he would have escaped and it exploded, okay, whatever, like cool. But the fact that he chased down the train, went through all that to do it again, I think is so cool because like he's like, no, I want to do it. I want this. I'm going to do it. This is the choice I'm making. This is the side I'm taking, and I love that.
Yeah, and I think the reason why he stopped it was because he had probably the thought in his head like, no, there's innocent people on this train. And when he went back on and was just bombarded by everyone, he realized, no, there ain't.
Exactly.
And plus that train, you know, it was very haunting, because even from the beginning, they also specified that that same train, that same model that went back and forth between Europe was also used to bring Jews to their death.
How horrible. And the fact that that was so like, they're just like, yeah, we'll just use this very same train to get like, set it on fire.
It should have been definitely, it felt like, because even though there were, I guess you could still say there were innocent people at some point. There would have been innocent people on that plane. On the train. They do make it out alive. You do see them like swimming up above. They're the ones who make it out alive. But people like him and everyone else, you don't see make out alive. Which
I liked. I really liked the ending. I think it was finally the character like coming full circle and making that choice and realizing like he's the hero.
The way it was filmed in the end, where he's stuck underwater and he can't get through like the little window or door because they're both jammed, and he's just looking, and you hear once again Max von Sydow just coming in and going, you know, in 10 seconds you will die. And then even after he dies, I kind of like how Max von Sydow acts as like his conscience, where it's like you want to wake up but you can't. You want to be able to swim to the top, but you can't. I thought that was like, beautifully haunting.
It's a nightmare. Mm-hmm. How many times did it very ready? Like, and it's a common nightmare too, which I liked. I mean, I think they implicated it very well. Like, everyone's had nightmares of drowning, and like we all have.
Yeah,
that
and also even more, you're on the money with the nightmare, because in the end, he couldn't wake up.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're getting layers deep in here.
No, I really like the movie. I feel like, especially if you're into psychology, I feel like you'd really like it.
Mm-hmm. Now, although, and another thing I loved, the music. In the beginning, when you see the train and it's like the violins and the orchestras and everything, I was drooling, and it upsets me so much. I'm having such a hard time. If anyone is out there and can find the soundtrack, like available on vinyl, CD, I don't care. Let me know.
Because on vinyl somewhere.
I haven't been able to find it. I want it so badly. I love the soundtrack of it, and I think it's so good, but I haven't been able to find it. But the soundtrack is just stunning. I
agree. I really like it. I think it does a lot for the movie. It adds that extra element for sure.
It's so good. And one thing before, because we're going to talk about, like, I know we want to talk about like the comparison between Schindler's List and this. I will say something just to kind of clear the air. Although I really do like this film, and I really do like, Lars von Trier's work, I will, because I was doing some research before this, and I kind of realized that he is a little more controversial than I thought.
Yeah, no, he's a Nazi sympathizer. He likes Hitler. He does. Because I saw that a while ago. I saw it when The House That Jack Built. I looked him up for some reason, and he was just like, yeah, Hitler wasn't that bad. Like, what the hell? Like, what?
Also, hold on. So his production company is called Zentropa.
Right.
So it's named after this film, because this was like his first big film. Would you believe? And I cringed when I read this, because I was like, only he would do this, but why? I have to, like, because I was reading this, I'm like, I have to talk about this man, and I have to talk about how I like this film. And now his studio is an old concentration camp.
What?
Zentropa is literally stationed, I don't know which country, but it used to be a war camp.
Who do we call about this? We need to call.
Do we call the EU?
We need to call somebody, because that's actually horrible. I've told you from the minute you brought him up, I don't like him. I think he's horrible. I hope he listens to this one day, and I hope he knows that I don't like him at all.
Bro, Lars, it's nothing personal. No, I would like to work for you, but come on.
No, Stephanie, we have to talk. You're not going to work for at a concentration. What the heck? No, Stephanie, sorry, don't like him. I hope he goes away.
Yep, it is a former World War II military camp outside Copenhagen.
Jeez, how is that allowed? How is that allowed?
Only thing I could think about was like the it's free real estate. That's the first thing I thought.
He was at I forget what, I don't know if it was the premiere of a show, I don't know, but he was like kind of sympathizing with Hitler, and then he was just like, it was a joke. Okay, fine. You were joking, but now after finding that information out, it's not a joke anymore. It's a problem.
Did you imagine the reporters who asked that question who said that? Meanwhile, they were looking at their like their little like boards, like their little, what is it, a clipboard, and it's just like Zentropa is at a military. Oh my god, that is crazy.
So yeah,
I wanted to disclose this because I although I do like his movies, that's such a big debate though. Like, at what point do you separate the artist from the artist's work?
I feel like for me, I like this movie, but like if any newer movies of him come out, I can't support it. I just can't. And it's the same thing with Woody Allen. I love Midnight in Paris. I was very, very young when I saw it. But if he were to make a movie that were newer, I wouldn't go support it. I don't like Woody Allen.
Yeah, and apparently too, like with Zentropa, like the way you get like inducted into their production companies, you have to go skinny dipping.
Oh no!
The I think it was the New Yorker. They did the New Yorker did a article on it a few years ago.
They can
where
sacrifice you? No, thank you.
No, I mean like apparently like you're inducted like when you go in the jacuzzi with them.
Stephanie,
no. It's awful.
That's really weird. No. I really hope, besides this and the house that Jack built, this is the last Lars von Trier, because he gives me the creeps. Even when I was watching the little documentary, I was like, creepy. He's creepy. You can tell he's off. You could tell Hitler. I just see Hitler now, so...
Okay, all right. That's a little bit of a stretch there. He's just a weird filmmaker.
Yeah, what? Okay, come on. Old concentration camp. He was talking about Hitler. Done. I'm upset.
Dang it! Now we're not going to review the house that Jack built.
No, we have to, so we can crap on him some more. But
see, it's such a thing. It's like the same thing with Roman Polanski, Woody Allen, Lars von Trier. At what point? And I don't know that point. At what point do I have to separate, the art from the artist? And it's such a tough debate, at least for me, for someone who wants to be a filmmaker. And I look at these films and I see things that I idolize. I don't idolize the director, but I idolize his work. And I
think you can, like you said, you've seen Europa before you knew about Lars von Trier. I've seen Roman Polanski movies before I knew this guy was a rapist. Same with Woody Allen. I feel like it's just, if they were to make something now, you can't possibly, in good like faith, good morality, whatever, like support that. You can't promote that and be like, yeah, give this guy money when he's a rapist or he's a Hitler supporter.
Like, oh no, like I wouldn't go to a movie theater and I would. Could you imagine like if I went to a movie theater and saw the house that Jack built in theaters? Are you kidding me? No, like I wouldn't go that far. But it's like I'll buy the DVD off of someone who already owns it. That type of thing. So it's like you won't get my money.
Yeah, it's a hard debate, but Lars von Trier, he's a no-go for us, guys. Just in case anybody, yeah.
But off the record, Zentropa Pictures, I do leave my email in the description.
Stephanie, no. You're not going to work at a death camp.
No. Just collaborate.
No. No.
Lars, if you're listening,
she declined.
If you want to come on and if you want to correct your wrongs, come on. I'd be down to talk. I don't know if Savanna would be down to talk with you, but I'd be down to talk with you.
And be very passive aggressive the whole time.
You'd be like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Hitler." Like you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So anyway,
but
right, I do enjoy the movie. So
good. I as I've been saying, I love the movie. Now, one of the things that I had noticed, like when I was first watching this film, so this came out in 91. Schindler's List came out in, I want to say 98, 99. Now, I always love looking and like figuring out like what director stole what from another director or got inspired by, air quote. And when I saw this, I was like, Spielberg, I know you watched this film. Spielberg. Did you think of that when you watched this film?
Unfortunately, yes. I really like Schindler's List. I think it's a fantastic movie. But after watching Europa, I did realize, like, I see the inspiration a lot. And I would find it really hard to believe that it was just, you know, minds thinking alike at that point. Because there is a lot, especially with the color technique, there is a lot of similarities.
Yeah, like... as much as I like, so pretty much what you're saying is I'm right. And I love that.
No, yeah, you're right. I really like Schindler's List, and it's a little disappointing, I guess, to see like, oh, you copied somebody. Because I don't want to say that, like, you know, maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know if it's a coincidence.
It's like Raging Bull versus Rocco and his brothers.
But at least it has Raging Bull. I feel like has different themes. Raging Bull is talking about toxic masculinity. Rocco's brothers is talking about the same thing, but like they have their different things. Where I feel like Schindler's List is obviously very different stories, but a lot of similarities.
But in terms of directing, it felt very similar.
Exactly.
In terms of directing style. It just felt very, very similar, not only with the use of black and white, but just like the angles and the choices and sorry, I burped. I've been drinking too much cherry Coke. But just like the choices that Spielberg made just felt a little too close to Lars. Maybe that's why Lars is upset. Maybe that's why he's gone off this.
Has a grip for life.
Yeah. So, overall, I say go watch it. If you're not going to watch Europa, then at least watch the trailer or the behind the scenes because it's super cool.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked. There's a lot of interesting things about this movie that you can appreciate. Stephanie, what is your rating for the movie?
Ooh, it's definitely high. It's definitely high up. The universe is telling me 8.8.
Wow. Okay.
8.8 for surezies.
7.7.
Good. Got 8.8 and 7.7. Wow, look at us.
To the decimal. I give it a 7.7 because I really like the film. I like a lot of things about it, but I also grade on like if I would watch it more than once. I would, but it's not an every year film for me. I might watch it again in a few years.
Understandable. I think for me, 8.8 resonates because it's what my core is telling me. Like my core and my chakras are aligning on that number. 8.8. It just resonates. I'm going to say that every time. Like every time I'm going to be like, this number resonates with me. It just physically, mentally, theoretically fits with me.
That's the best way to go.
So 8.8 it is.
All right, you guys heard it from us. Go watch Europa. I wonder if there will be a movie on here that we don't recommend.
Let me take a gander at the list. Hold on.
I feel like we recommended all of these movies, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. What day will come?
Well, are we even going to recommend The House That Jack Built? Is that something?
No.
Okay.
I'm already telling everybody not to. We're gonna talk about it maybe eventually. I'm thinking of Halloween, but do not watch that movie. Just putting it out there.
If you hate yourself and you want to be punished,
there
watch that movie.
There are scenes in that movie that still, I don't, nightmares. So
if anyone has ever thought like, yeah, maybe I could be a killer, do not watch it. Do not. It will like inhibit a gene within your body to activate and you'll have psychopathic tendencies after watching that film. Not by choice.
I only watched it because Stephanie recommended, and boy, do I regret it. Do I regret what?
I think honestly, you know what? I think we're just going to have to knock it out of the park. I think this is happening. I'm going back on my list. I'm changing one of mine.
Wait a second.
Yes. I am making you watch it sooner than you think, sweetie.
Wait a second. Can we leave a gap? Because I don't want this to become like next week Lars von Trier again. I don't want that to become this channel.
No, I'm not gonna like mentally. Could you imagine? I'm like, Europa 1, 2 is House That Jack Built. 3 is 120 Days in Sodom. No, I'm not gonna ruin you like that. But definitely, I'm gonna look in the few weeks of because like I've said before, me and her, we get to pick films on Fridays and it alternates. So probably in a few weeks, I'm just going to put The House That Jack Built, because if I'm going to schmear Lars von Trier, it's going to be in the beginning when no one listens and I face no judgment.
We're gonna get some kind of hate mail from him, specifically from him, because he has such a big ego, and someone's gonna show him this.
No, not even because here's the thing: if this was, let's be real, if we were getting millions of views, we wouldn't be able to talk about it like this so nonchalantly. We're just talking about it as if you and me are in the room. But if we had a huge following, you wouldn't. You'd be safe. I'd be facing death threats.
Why?
Because when you have directors like that, and I say I love their films, I love, they're one of my favorite directors. It's people will correlate and be like, if you like his films, ergo, you're a Nazi sympathizer. Which is not farthest from it, even though I do enjoy a good World War II film.
I think he's very talented, but I will not watch another one of his films. No. This and the House That Jack Built, that's it. Forever. I don't want to hear nothing about him anymore, because but I don't think, I think you're doing a good job at not siding with him. I don't know. I think you could have.
Oh my god! Why would I side with him? It's the same thing with Last Tango in Paris. It's the same thing with Last Tango in Paris.
That's a little less controversial, even though it is controversial. I feel like there are reasons why you could get around that. Is what I'm saying. We'll talk about that at some point too, but.
How did the Criterion do it? I mean, Antichrist is in. How did they get away with it?
I'm not watching that. I'm telling you right now, that's the exception of the. I won't. Sorry.
I do want to watch it. I own the DVD.
Well, you could.
I got it. So guess what? Fun fact. I got it at the airport.
What?
Immediately after bumping into. So I bought it at a Newark airport.
Oh, okay.
I bought Antichrist at a Newark airport on my phone. Sent it to home immediately after bumping into the actor who stars in it.
William Dafoe, my crush.
I bumped into William Dafoe at a Newark, your crush, at a Newark airport immediately after I bought Antichrist.
It was a sign.
It was a sign. I had been debating. I was like, do I pull the plug on it? And I literally bumped into it. I was like, oh, sorry. And I was walking and I looked at my mom and there was a couple in front of us was like, was that William Dafoe? And I'm like, I bumped into William Dafoe. So
yeah, for those you who don't know, I have a very weird crush on him. I find him oddly charming.
Even today?
When the peak for me was Spider-Man, when he was the Green Goblin. I really liked him then. I thought he was very, very charming. He's got a charm in him.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to just end it on that note. We started with a trivia, and now we're going to end with another trivia, whereas Savanna has the hots for Spider-Man's William Dafoe.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we should stop there. So next week, do you want to...
Could you imagine if your peak for him was The Lighthouse?
No, that was probably the end right there. That was it. When I saw that movie, we should review that movie too.
My lobster.
We should do a review on that movie too. The Lighthouse.
For surezies. But okay, so I'm going to sign us out. Tune in next time where we are going to be reviewing Three Faces, right?
Yeah,
Three Faces, not Three Women.
Iranian film.
And it's called Three Faces, so that'll be on Sunday. And if you are still listening, thanks. Congratulations, you made it. Here you go. That's a little clap for you. You made it. You made it at the 54-minute mark. Congratulations.
Criterion, please don't sponsor us. We won't talk.
Criterion sponsor. I will delete this episode in a jiffy. I will mute all of my words in this if we can get a sponsor.
We'll just edit half of
Coca-Cola. If you're listening, I drink a lot of cherry Coke. I'm having a lot of teeth issues because of it. Shout out to me, please. Seriously.
Yeah, we'll just edit half this video out if you guys are interested. Just
Lars, don't contact. It was a joke. Don't be weird.
nobody tell him. Nobody tell him, please.
Nobody tell him. If someone knows Lars, just shut up. Don't say anything else. Just keep this to yourself. This is our secret now. We're bonded now.
This episode's gotta go. Like, once if we start getting a following, this has gotta go. And like,
oh my god, could you imagine if like, because you know how like some YouTubers, they have like certain sign-offs, like who, the only person I could think of right now is Trisha Paytas, where it's like, say bye little baby fishies. I don't know what it is, but like, what if our sign-off was like, goodbye everyone, be safe, be healthy, and also screw you, Lars. Like, what if it was just that
like,
as like our sign
yeah,
out?
we just be like, oh yeah, like literally a year from now, we're still doing this. We still hate Lars von Trier. Remember that. That's it. That's our sign off. We still hate him.
I don't hate him.
Stephanie.
Undoes everything. Okay, I'm gonna sign off before I say something that'll get me in a lot of trouble. So hope you guys enjoyed. Bye. Seriously, Lars, don't contact us. Bye.